welcome into another episode of the Movie Geek Podcast. I'm your host, George T, and this episode is now, as we get into July, this is going to be the top 10 movies that I am ranking so far this calendar year. So we've gone through the first 6 months, and now it's time to give a honest, from my opinion, top 10 that I've seen so far. And you may comment your favorite movies as well. You could like my list if you agree. Always hit that comment button. Also hit that subscribe button. I have been gaining slowly some new subscribers. Just hit the subscribe button. If you're watching the shorts, if you're watching this stuff, just hit subscribe. Help me out with that. So, and even some likes. That always helps too. As again, we're getting closer to 100th episode, and we're halfway through this year, and there's going to be so much content to go. It's just been a crazy year and a half of doing this. So I do appreciate you guys watching and listening. So without further ado, we are going to honorable mention. So I've got two. I mean, there was, again, I've seen so many movies this year. I've done a lot of reviews. There are some movies I haven't reviewed yet. So there is that. But two movies that I definitely would recommend that did not make my top 10. And one is Last Breath. This was the true story about the dive team and the heroic efforts of a dive team to rescue their fellow diver who miraculously survived being clinically brain dead for nearly 27 minutes. It's a fascinating story. It's a really, really good story, and definitely worth a watch. A surprise sci-fi movie, and I did a review on it. I did like it. The ending was kind of weird. If you're not a big sci-fi junkie, it's not for you. But if you are, I recommend it. Ash. This is about a woman who wakes up with no recollection of how or where she is, and her team around her is dead. She has to figure out why they're dead, or who killed them. And then there is the uh, alien that kind of gets inside her head and gives her some delusions and wants to tell humanity that they do not belong on this planet. Go away. So it is a pretty, uh, you know, psychological horror thriller, and definitely for sci-fi fans, you should watch it. So let's start at number 10, Hard Eyes. The Hard Eyes Killer on Valentine's Day, wreaking havoc on just corny love. It has a lot of the cliche love stories in it. Conversely, it's very much like Scream and Scary Movie as well. So, and if you didn't see that review, Ashley and I did the review of Hard Eyes because we saw that together. It is definitely worth a watch, especially if you are into that horror comedy type deal. Number 9, Until Dawn. Yes, it was my number one top anticipated film of the year, and it was good. Um, I just think there was a lot of other movies that were a lot better, and you might say, well, if Until Dawn was your number one, why is it number 9? Well, because again, the story was good. I thought it was better than most people thought it was, but there are a lot more movies out there that were just a little bit better. And at the end of the year, it'll be in my year in review, but it's probably going to be down on the list because there's a lot of good movies still to come. So, but it is worth a look, especially because it's Groundhog Day uh, meets you know, horror movies. Like it's just crazy. So that is number 9. Number 8, Luckiest Man in America. This was the true story about a man who literally had nothing. He was a scammer. He was a get rich kind of guy who just loved video TV game shows, and he loved Press Your Luck. He winds up going on the show and becomes the high at the time the winningest contestant in game show history, which drew a lot of questions from uh, the media execs, the show itself, and whatnot. And basically, they thought he was cheating or people were helping him, but he memorized the boards on the game and he couldn't be stopped. And it is quite interesting. And again, as I did in my review, I'm not exactly sure how accurate that whole day was. Um, but if that is the case, man, those people went through a lot, especially the audience who did not know what was going on. And everybody else who had to go under that pressure was just so much. And I don't know how he finished his day um, and won all that money with all of that coming down on him. So, very, very good movie. Number 7, Companion. I just reviewed this on the last episode, and you know, Ex Machina and Companion right up there. Uh, Again, a movie about an AI robot that becomes self-aware. When are we going to learn that robots are going to be self-aware at some point? We don't need, you know, robots for whatever use you have it. Mainly, most people have them for, their own pleasures, and not probably what they're intended for, but or some of them actually are. So I'm just going to stop there. Number 6 is Captain America: Brave New World. I said this on multiple occasions that I think the MCU is back on track. And Captain America: Brave New World, for as much as critics kind of blasted it, or it didn't do as well as they thought it would do at the box office, it did what it needed to do. It set up the storytelling that they had during um, the early phases, where it was grounded and not talking about a multiverse, even though they tied in the two worst movies together with a nice little bow. You had the Incredible Hulk movie that did nothing with uh, Edward Norton, and the movie that they don't talk about anymore, The Eternals, because quite frankly, just it was abysmal. Now, that isn't to say that we may resurrect the Eternals at some point in the future, but there is no talks on that, so I think Marvel has pretty much put a fork in that one, and rightfully so. It was just terrible. Number 5, Queen of the Ring. This was based loosely on the true story of Mildred Burke. She was the first um, millionaire female wrestler. She was just a country girl who had a thing for wrestling, and she wasn't the biggest woman, but she was so determined to. And it's a very good movie. A lot of it is factually accurate. There's a few things that were a little stretched out, especially um, one of the girls dying outside the ring. Um, Little known fact, she never died. She died of old age later on. So that might have been interesting for the family who, you know, the grandkids who watched it and was like, wait, grandma died in the movie? You know, I found that kind of funny when I did the research on it afterwards. But again, Hollywood does take liberties with, uh, you know, true stories at times. So that was my number five. I, at the time, thought it was going to be one of the best pictures, and I think it will stay probably in my top 10 at the end of the year because I think it was just that good. Um, Black Bag, number four. This movie was really good. It was a spy thriller that uh, I thought it was one of the best spy films that I had seen in a while. And I said that in my review. And so definitely my top four. So definitely check it out. I mean, Michael Fassbender, Kate Blanchett. I mean, you can't go wrong there. Um, and it was so well done. It was so well done. Number three, Warfare. I had trouble with the top two and three because Warfare and number two, Thunderbolts, were just that good. Warfare, Alex Garland, you know, who did Civil War, which should have been Best Picture or at least nominated last year for Oscar, but wasn't. So, but he did an amazing job with this film. He had help from Ray Menendez, who was his co-director and basically wrote the story. And it was about uh, one day in the life of these soldiers, and it is so powerful and it's so well done. So again, I had trouble with two and three. Thunderbolts obviously is number two. Uh, Again, Marvel on the right track, and Thunderbolts was uh, very, very good. Uh, you know, basically for you DC fans, it's like Suicide Squad, but for the MCU. And David Harbour steals the show as Alexei, as he usually does with this role, and Florence Pugh continues to do amazing work in the MCU as now the official Black Widow after her sister perished in uh, Infinity War. I mean, in Endgame, and so it's it, again storytelling without having to drag in the multiverse, and we'll get to see Fantastic Four very soon, which I will have top five movies to watch in July episode coming up soon, and obviously Fantastic Four is on that list. Um, because I want to see where the MCU goes from here. This is the last film. It'll be the last film, but Thunderbolts was really really good, and so two and three could swap. I mean, by the end of the year, I might, you know, when I go revisit Thunderbolts and I revisit Warfare, they could, you know, definitely be in the top five and could swap places. But right now, this is the way I've got it written. And then argue if you want to with number one, but I guarantee you won't. It's Sinners. By far, far and away, this movie is Oscar worthy. Um, I've said it. I've done shorts on it. I talked to Rich Keefe about it. He agrees. Um, a few of you have commented on the shorts or on the thing on the episode. You think Sinners is number one. So I want to know if there's anyone out there that doesn't think it is the biggest or the best film of this year so far. I have a hard time thinking will see a comment like that. But you never know. Some people out there may have disliked the film, but hard pressed to find anyone who didn't. And if this movie does not have multiple nominations this year, there's something wrong. But I don't think we're gonna have that issue because again, it is so powerful. And you got two Michael B. Jordans. We've seen other films like Alto Nights with uh, De Niro playing two spots and it bombs, or other movies in the past that have had multiple character um, being played by one person and it doesn't do well. But this one, because it is Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler together, these two just have so much chemistry. If Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan make movies for the next 10 or 15 years, I guarantee blockbuster written all over it. So Hollywood needs to keep that moving. Michael B. Jordan needs to keep that going. Ryan Coogler continues to keep that going. I think they have just done masterful work. Masterful work. So look forward to whatever project they are going to be working on in the future. So that is the top 10. I'm going to go over it one more time. Number 10, Hard Eyes. Number 9, Until Dawn. Luckiest Man in America. Number 8, Seven, Companion. Number 6, Captain America. Number 5, Queen of the Ring. Number 4, Black Bag. 3, Warfare. 2, Thunderbolts. And 1, Sinners. Just an incredible film. There are so many other films that I had seen this year, but hard pressed for 10 other ones that, and there are other films that got on that list. I wrote down a bunch of movies that I saw, and just like, ooh, I did like that one, but I'm just not sure. Or that's why I put Last Breath and Ash on there. I could have put in the honorable mention Predator, Killer of Killers. Um, I think that'll make it top 25. I want to see how it uh, blends into Predator Badlands, and both of those films may make the top 25. Maybe, but right now, top 10. That's my list. Uh, will any of these movies not be on the top 25 by the end of the year? I don't think so. I've looked ahead. Uh, I'm not going to do a preview of the next 6 months. Hard pressed to know that because there are some movies that are going to probably sneak in there that haven't had release dates or whatnot, or companies are going to try to get them in before the Oscar push. So um, hard to do a back end, uh, you know, preview of the last for the next 6 months. So I'm not going to do that. But those are the top 10 movies that I've enjoyed this year. And again, if there's any ones that you enjoyed that would have made your top 10, um, or you know, you could dislike any of those movies on my list, let me know in the comments below. But of course, subscribe, like, uh, comment, just interact. It would just be so much easier to understand, what you guys want to see or what your movie likes and dislikes are too, because maybe a review that I do coming up will be like, oh yes, I wanted to see that film. I need to hear his opinion. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So okay, so this short one was just the top 10 so far this year, and box office is doing really well. Um, the kids' movies are carrying again like they did last year, and grateful that people are going back to the theaters. So hopefully that continues to the back end. There's still exciting movies to go and see. July's got some big blockbusters. Again, Fantastic Four. You've got Jurassic World Rebirth. Um, and, then you get the smaller films that have Oscar buzz and great acting. You know, my July list is going to be coming up as well. And this is kind of the year that you've seen Pedro Pascal in a lot of stuff, and there'd be no exception with one of the movies in July. And who knows, he could be doing some more before the end of the year, because he's already done a bunch already with Freaky Tales and Materialists, and I believe there was one more, but can't remember that off the top of my head. And it's getting late and I don't remember. So, all right. So, hope you enjoyed the episode. And as always, I will see you at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That